Would you join me for the flag salute?
Too late, all right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father, help us to be receptive to the thoughts and challenges that come to us through prayer, through the printed page, and from the world around us, and help our leaders to find the best solutions to the problems that we face. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. Also pursuant to the 2014 bylaws, rules, and regulations of the Board of Children Freeholders of the County of Burlington, time shall be set aside on the agenda for the receipt of public comments. Public comments will be received with respect to agenda items prior to board consideration of resolutions to be adopted. An additional opportunity for public comment will occur later in the meeting. Public comments shall be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Unused time may not be transferred to another speaker. Persons may speak once per public comment period. I direct the Deputy Clerk to enter into the minutes of this meeting this public announcement and the advance written notice of this meeting. Freeholder Bellegarde.
Here.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Here.
Freeholder Howard.
Here.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Here.
And Director Gargano.
Here. At this point, I'll be looking for a motion to approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of June 11th and the regular meeting of June 25th.
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Howard, second.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Bellegarde. Questions or additions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstention on the 25th of June, Director.
As noted. Thank you, sir. I'm proud to announce tonight that we will adopt a budget that once again cuts taxes while maintaining and enhancing the first-rate services we offer for families, seniors, veterans, and the most vulnerable among us. Though our efforts to do more with less, the amount of tax dollars required to run county government has now decreased by $24.2 million since 2008, more than in any other county in the state of New Jersey. In fact, during the same time period, county property taxes across the state increased $18.6 million. Burlington County continues to have the lowest per resident cost when compared to other counties throughout the state, as just $339 per resident compared to an average of $551.70 statewide. While other counties are taxing more, Burlington County is taxing less. Over the last 6 years, the county share of residential property tax bill has decreased by over 20%. Last year, the county taxes made up only 14.9% of a resident's property tax bill. It was this commitment to fiscal responsibility that led to the respected Pew Charitable Trust to credit Burlington County with having the lowest residential tax burden in the Philadelphia region. All this is important, not only for the property tax relief we are providing for our residents, but also as lower taxes help to attract new businesses to the region. When you look around the state and see tax bills that continue to grow, Burlington County comes the place to do business. That will help to grow our economy and create new, good-paying jobs for our residents. At this point, we have a group of multiple things we'll be voting on. We'll have our public hearing, and they're all basically budget-related. So we'll move on now to our public hearing for final adoption, Resolution 2014-00190, to exceed the county property appropriation limits and establish a cap bank. I'd be looking for a motion. Well, we'll open the public hearing. If anybody had any comment on this?
Mr. Director, I think Mr. Krasson wanted to give a brief summary of this.
Okay.
Mr. Director, I just wanted to state that the public hearing resolution before you today is pursuant to the state statute provides that government entities can establish what they call a cap bank. And it's a bank that can be used for future year budgets and future tax levies. In order for the governmental entity to establish that bank, there must be a resolution, there must be an actual hearing for that. So the hearing that we have tonight is for the establishment of a cap bank of 3.5% to be used for future budget years.
At that point, with that explanation, we'll open it up for any public comment on this one item. Yes, sir.
Phil Love, Metro New Jersey. Just a quick comment on the page 3A. It talks about a 0.5% cap is applied to increase it by $18. I noticed last year it was at 2%. Did something change in the law to reduce that from 2% to 0.5%?
Mark?
Mr. Director, annually, the state puts forth what that initial percentage is. Last year it was 2%, and this year the state came out with a 0.5%.
Any other? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. I'll be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Donnelly, second by Freeholder Howard. Questions? Roll call.
Freeholder Bellegarde.
Yes.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Yes.
Freeholder Howard.
Yes.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Yes.
And Director Gargano.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to resolutions. We'll move to Resolution 1. I'd be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Howard, second.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Bellegarde. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor? I'm sorry, roll call.
It's okay. Freeholder Bellegarde.
Yes.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Yes.
Freeholder Howard.
Yes.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Yes.
And Director Gargano.
Yes. We'll move on to item 2. We'd be looking for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Howard, second
Second?
by Freeholder Donnelly. At this point, Paul?
Yes. Whereas the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington on May 14, 2014, introduced in writing and approved the annual budget of Burlington County, and whereas 2 certified copies of the approved budget were transmitted to the Director of Local Government Services of the State of New Jersey, and whereas the Board of Chosen Freeholders of Burlington County fixed July 9, 2014 in the Burlington County Office Building for the holding of a public hearing on the aforesaid budget. And whereas the aforesaid budget and the budget hearing were advertised on June 26, 2014 in the Burlington County Times, and whereas a complete copy of the approved budget was posted on the Burlington County website, and whereas a complete copy of the approved budget was available for public inspection at least 1 week prior to the date of the hearing in the county library, and whereas a complete copy of the approved budget was made available to each person requesting the same during said week, and it was made available for distribution at this public meeting, now therefore be it resolved that the aforesaid county budget be read by its title only as provided for in NJSA 40A:4-8.
Any questions? Have a roll call?
Freeholder Bellegarde.
Yes.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Yes.
Freeholder Howard.
Yes.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Yes.
And Director Gargano.
Yes. At this point, we'll be moving on to our public hearing. Mark, would you like to read the budget summary? Thank you, sir.
Pursuant to the resolution just passed by the board, the summary for the budget is read by title. The 2014 budget of the county will provide for appropriations of $180,771,122, less anticipated revenues, $36,248,108, and the amount to be raised by taxes of $152,523,014.
Thank you, sir. At this point, I'm looking for a motion to open up the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Howard, second.
Second.
Freeholder Bellegarde, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. This will be on the county budget. We have some people who have signed up. Mayor DeFalco?
We're going to do the presentation first?
Are you going to go through the whole presentation? Okay, I thought you were done with your read. Sorry, sir.
Not a problem.
Go through your presentation.
Tonight, I'm going to present an overview of the county's 2014 budget and the favorable impact on taxes, as Freeholder Director has stated. I'm going to be going over the budget objectives, cost savings and revenue increases, decreasing property values. I'm going to touch on that. We'll talk about the county performance, how well the county has fared, what its scorecard looks like. Going to be providing a summary of 2014 revenues and appropriations. Going to touch on county debt and summarize some of the key points from the presentation. Freeholders have strived to maintain and enhance county services with fewer tax dollars while in an environment of ever-declining property values. county has been successful in this endeavor by optimizing operating efficiencies. In fact, there are 650 fewer employees today than there were in 2008. That's a 31% decrease. And in many cases, over the same period of time, our level of services to our residents have increased. Freeholders have been sensitive to the needs of our residents' financial hardships during the nation's recent financial crisis, providing significant tax decreases. On the expense side of the ledger, certain costs continue to rise, one of which is healthcare costs. Despite being aggressive in managing healthcare costs, we are projecting a $1.9 million increase. We are hopeful that our recent strategic partnership with Virtual Health for Employee Wellness, as well as being aggressive in managing our healthcare costs, will help us to reduce this going forward. And I'm also pleased to report that thus far, our aggressive management of these claims has resulted in budgetary savings so far for this year. Last year, in the latter part of the year, we did see some higher claims, but we're hopeful that we will not see that going again this year. We continue to be aggressive with the pay down of bond principal, and we'll be seeing an increase in debt service this year of $2 million. An example of our many shared services is our joint insurance fund. We've grouped together with other governmental agencies to save money on insurance. It's doing actually a very good job for us. However, prior to forming this joint insurance fund, we have what we're calling legacy claims, claims that were before this fund that continue to impact our budget. We adjust our budget accordingly based upon actuarial studies that are done on the legacy claims, and we take the recommendations on the amount to increase our budget. And lastly, the funding for the Board of Social Services for programs helping our most vulnerable will also increase this year. We work very hard to identify areas where we can reduce costs without sacrificing services. We have strived to reduce overtime county-wide. Most notably is with the jail. In 2009, jail overtime was $3.6 million. This is really indicative of our industry. In 2014, it will be $340,000, almost a 90% decrease, and quite frankly, the leader in the state with regard to managing correctional overtime. We continue to evaluate department operations, compare what we do with best practice models, both in the private as well as the public sectors, to achieve greater operating efficiencies. This can be best seen in the reorganization and consolidation of the finance and administrative department, as well as consolidation of human services. Our goal is to continue to provide cost-effective solutions that enable freeholders to hold the line on taxes. We have experienced some positive changes in our local economy that have resulted in increased revenues. In particular, we've seen an increase in the category called local revenues in our budget, which is mainly comprised of revenues from our county clerk, sheriff, surrogate, and we have not raised any rates in these areas, but just from the improvement in the economy that we've seen, we've recognized just in pure volume an increase of over $1.8 million in that area. And just kind of put this into perspective, it's important to recognize that between 2009 and 2014, we saw a $50 million decrease in revenues to the county. And this was reflective of the economic crisis that impacted the nation, the state, as well as the county. Fortunately, revenues have leveled off in 2014, and we did see a slight increase. So we're hopeful to see this continued upward growth going into the future. In May 2013, we also established an agreement with Gloucester County for minimum security inmates. And part of our revenue projections this year will see an increase recognizing the full year of that agreement. Overall, between 2009 and 2014, we have seen a total decrease in property values of over $6.4 billion. And you can see from this slide, it doesn't work too well, but you can see here it's a very, very high number and going down. What is favorable in this slide is that from 2013 to 2014, the decrease in property values was about $500,000. This compares to almost $2 million decrease in property values of the preceding year. So we're finally seeing the leveling out of this. The equalized values are determined by the state, and the state method of reporting is actually 2 years in arrears. So even though we've seen a lot of positive trends, we'll be seeing the reflection of that in equalized property values in the years to come. The factors that we evaluate for county performance are taxes, what's happening with taxes, and our Freeholder directors already explained how they're going down. We'll elaborate that more. Spending, the spending increase or decrease, and of course the cost per resident. So I thought it'd be helpful to take a look at our scorecard and see how well we're doing. First, let us look at our combined tax levy. Excuse me. Burlington County's combined levy has decreased by $24.2 million, 2008 to 2013. The average change in the total levy for all counties was an increase of $18.6 million. Another comparison here is Union County. Of all the counties in the state that factored into the $18.6 million average, increased their taxes $64.2 million or 24%. And this represents more than the $88 million swing in how well Burlington County did compared to the highest tax increase county. This chart shows graphically, again, we have the highest county off on the far left, $64.2 million. All these are increases. The decrease in Burlington County, $24.2 million. And I thought also it'd be helpful just to highlight some of our nearby counties, mainly Camden, Mercer, and Ocean. Camden County increased taxes $68 million more than Burlington County. Mercer County, $56 million more than Burlington County. And Ocean County, $43 million more than our county. The total tax levy for county taxes is comprised of three portions. One is the library, difference in space, and lastly, county operations. I'm pleased to report that the Freeholders will further reduce the tax levy in 2014 by another $511,000. And this totaling almost $25 million to reduce taxes over the past 6 years. This is an interesting graph, and it touches on what the Freeholder director said early on in the meeting in terms of the percentage of your tax pool that is the county taxes. The three colors here represent the green, which is up top, which is the portion of your tax bill which goes to school taxes. The red are the municipal taxes, and the blue are the county taxes. The county taxes are the ones that are going down precipitously over this period of time. Our next metric in our county scorecard is spending. Burlington County decreased spending $43.7 million or 19.2% from 2008 to 2013. All counties in the state had an increase of $12.6 million. And the average of the top 5 counties that increased their taxes was almost $50 million. So basically, of those top counties that increased taxes, Burlington County did $94 million better than the average of those 5 counties. This next slide, again, just graphically, showing the highest here. Here's our decrease over that period of time. And again, I think it's important to look at Camden, Ocean, and Mercer County. Mercer County spent almost $57 million more than Burlington County. Camden County spent almost $60 million more than Burlington County. And Ocean County spent more than $70 million more than Burlington County. The last metric in our performance scorecard is the cost per resident. We are pleased to report that the county remains the lowest per resident cost of all counties in the state while providing first-rate services. The next lowest county to Burlington is Bergen County at $409 per resident. Cape May County has the highest of $1,010 per resident, with the state average being $551. This next page gives some breakdown, and it's in our individual budget handouts. But I just wanted to highlight a few things. Our total budget is $188 million. And this year, we're utilizing some surplus in our budget development. We're using about $2.4 million in surplus. And I'm putting this to your attention because even with utilizing the surplus, with the positive trends that we've seen in our local economy and revenues, we expect not only to replace that amount of money, but add to that surplus come the end of the year. And again, just to put this into perspective, since 2012, we've virtually doubled our surplus, going from $7 million to almost $14 million by the end of 2013, which I think is a very significant accomplishment. So up top, we have our revenues. The bottom are the expenses, again, both totaling a little over $188 million. We've remained in very, very good standing from a rating agency's perspective. The county enjoys a strong AA rating from the rating agencies. And when we go out to the market, we're compared to an average of all governmental entities that go out in the marketplace that also enjoy a AA rating. And I'm pleased to report that the county has been better at times than all the other governmental entities with the AA rating when we issue debt. We are very, very well received by the marketplace, and I think it's really a testimony to the fine job that the freeholders have done here. Our net debt is a little over $318 million. There's only 33% of the county borrowing capacity. In 2014, the county will retire approximately $28.3 million of outstanding debt. I mentioned that earlier in the presentation where we have an increased debt service. Again, it's to repay more debt as compared to the $23.7 million of debt we retired in 2013. We talked about some of the metrics on our performance scorecard. We talked about taxes, spending, and cost per resident. The combined tax levy for the county for all of open space, county operations, and the library will decrease in 2014 by $511,000. The combined tax levy for all those three will decrease almost $25 million, or 12.7% since 2008. Spending, incorporating our 2014 budget, will still result in a decrease of almost $40 million since 2008. And our cost per resident remains the lowest in the state. In 2014, we will adopt a budget that will decrease the levy for the 5th year in a row while maintaining or enhancing services to all our residents. I'd like to thank the freeholders for all their hard work in the budget and offering me the opportunity to present this to you in the public today.
Thank you, sir. At this point, we will open up our public hearing for the county budget. I look for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Freeholder Schwartz, second by Freeholder Howarth. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mayor? Sorry about that.
Not a problem. Let me state my name.
Yep, name and address, if you could.
Rich DeFalco, 18 Winding Way, Mount Holly, New Jersey, Mayor. I first want to say thank you to the entire Freeholder Board, and to thank you once again for providing exceptional services while continuing to lower taxes for the residents of Burlington County and for the residents of Mount Holly Township. Mount Holly Township has continued to see increased services and grants helping improve the lives of those who live in town, all occurring because of our county's support. And simply put, I'd like to again thank you again, and all of you, please keep up the good work lowering the taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Alex Robiton?
It's Alex Roberts from Chesterfield. I just also would like to thank you for the job you've done. It's really an honor to live in this county over the years that I've lived here. It's the only county you can be proud of, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Phil Garwood?
Good evening, Phil Garwood, Morristown. I was coming up here tonight to congratulate you guys on another job well done. 5 years in a row, decreased taxes, it's awesome. But after seeing the presentation, I'm even more involved from both a personal level and a level as a councilman. I have family that utilizes the special needs services. I have an elderly dad that utilizes the senior services. And I can say by far, they're second to none. Through a municipal level, you guys have supported towns and services, grants, whatever, endlessly, and it's appreciated. You guys have been a true partner in all our endeavors. So I think we all owe you a heartfelt thank you for decreasing. I mean, this day and age, you don't hear tax decreased spending. You know, we struggle with our own budget to hold the line. You guys are setting the example, and it should be a template moving forward for all municipalities and counties in the state. So just a heartfelt thank you and a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Malone?
You say low?
Nope, said Malone.
Malone.
You're next.
You're next. Don't go far, Bill.
Stand there, Bill.
Let's hear it first. Put back on the-
First off, I sincerely would like to thank you. Having spent the last 41 years of my life in public office, and to come down and to congratulate the Board of Freeholders for the fine job you have done. Your leadership, Bruce and the rest of you, I think speaks very well of all of us in the county. I've had the privilege over the years of working with the freeholder boards at Ocean, Monmouth, and Somerset County, and I would say that you're head and shoulders over quality and sincerity. Look, I got back in local office, as all of you know, and it has been a pleasure for the last year and a half that I've been back in office to deal with the various departments in the county, to deal with all of you. I think it speaks very well of where we live and how you treat the residents of this county. You are exceptional individuals. I hope it continues that way. I think it's necessary for the vitality of this county that we have strong leadership, and I think that we're provided by the individuals that are on this board. And whether it was tree removal, road work, or just in general, every time we have called for assistance, the county has been there for us, and I respect you all for doing the fine job you've done, and keep it up. And if we can reciprocate in any way possible as we move forward, just don't hesitate to get a hold of myself or Commissioner Karagonski and Board of County. We will make ourselves available with equipment, men, whatever you'll need to help you, in particular in the northern part of the county, and we just thank you for all you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Love? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's good.
William Love, 8 Barberry Views, Medford, New Jersey. First of all, Mr. Gargano, it's glad to see you back before you belong.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure you're here next year. First of all, good job that the levy will be cut $500,000. Please see the chart that I sent to you earlier, and it's also on your table. I think that it's pretty indicative of the job you've been doing the last few years. But let's go back in history a little bit. Prior to 2008, we had a significant run-up from $140 million in 2003 to $194 million in 2008. You have reduced taxes consistently since then to $170 million for 2014. However, $13 million of the $24 million is from open space rate cut from 4 cents to 1.5 cents, which may be short-lived. I credit Mr. Donnelly, who when elected, promised a $25 million levy cut, and he, with the help of the board, is on the way to accomplish that goal. So I'm pleased after the 5-year run-up, we're getting back down where we ought to be. And by the way, Mr. Donnelly, I think you should be running for Congress, and they made a bad choice and it would have made for very interesting freeholder meetings. I am chagrined that my request made on June 15, 2015 for the actual 2013 expenditures you said were used to prepare the budget was ignored. I also find it incomprehensible that once again a budget was posted with prior year numbers that don't add but $2.2 million in 5 of 11 operating categories, despite the CFO and auditor certifying right in the front of the budget package that the additions are correct. And I hope they're going to be held accountable for that. As you see in the last page of my handout, the land management is only one page. And just as an example, there's only one number in where the column that says spent, and it was $157, yet the total shows $57,144. All you have to do is look at the page and know it's wrong. So obviously somebody's not even reading the budget, in my opinion. Despite the fact there's $500,000 cut, I think we have to do a better job in preparation of the budget. So what I'd like to do now is read through some comments without response so I don't get beyond. First of all, no budget message this year is appalling. And I disagree that the numbers speak for themselves. I try to put them up to my ear, they're not talking to me. I suggest that the following things be used as really a tool for the 2015 budget. Let's face it, 2014 is over. We might as well just pass the budget tonight and call it a day on that. Couple points. You state that $28.3 million in debt will be retired in 2014, but make no disclosure on how much debt will be added in 2014 based on the $247 million capital plan with possibly $46 million for capitals in 2014. What debt will be added in 2014? We just can't say how much is being paid down, how much more is going to be borrowed. There is no disclosure of projects for $23 million to be spent on open space or the dwindling remaining fund balance. Will the tax rate reduced to 1.5 cents last year and for 2014 be restored to the former 4 cents and raise taxes by $13 million in 2015? And by the way, I think you shortchanged yourself on your budget reduction. The presentation here tonight said that the open space tax is going to be $6,787,000 or $87,600. The actual budget shows $6,533,259. So why is there a $250,000 difference? That's going to be a question. With 31% fewer employees in 2008, how can the unfunded sick pay liability still be in the same $6 million in 2014 as in 2008? What is the plan to reduce or eliminate $6 million sick pay liability, which, by the way, again, is unfunded? Do employees get full payout at termination? How much was paid out in 2013 for employees still here, and separately for termination payments, and where was it expensed? Time permitting, we will discuss my analysis on your table tonight. If no time, please respond later. And by the way, it increased $250,000 in 2013 alone, or 4%. This is sort of getting out of control. We talked about a 31% reduction in employees. The budget message used to tell us how many employees you have. I have no idea how many employees you have right now. The next item, healthcare. What is the plan to reduce healthcare costs, which is up $2.2 million or 11%? It appears employees pay a seemingly low 6.8% of the cost of the gross cost of $22 million for health premiums. Any comment on that? Healthcare premiums, pensions, and payroll taxes equals 61 cents of each salary dollar. Salaries are $59.2 million, so these costs total a whopping $36 million. Since the budget was approved in July last year, how could insurance budget be off to 2013 actual by over $2 million in only 6 months? Additionally, 2014 is up over $3 million from the original 2013 budget. Does anyone have any idea why the insurance budget was so out of control, and what is the plan to control this $26 million category? Excuse me. run-up to $1 million, by the way, should have been accrued. I think that's part of the answer. It wasn't clear in the presentation whether that was healthcare or general liability, by the way. And again, that should have been accrued. Shouldn't have been a surprise if we really do have good actuarial reports. And the question I have there is, once you have a runoff, normally it's not a one-year event, especially in healthcare. So is there more tail to come in 2015? Converse to that, when you change plan providers, and again, I don't know whether it's healthcare or insurance, you normally get a first-year benefit. If it is healthcare, generally those claims take about 3 months to process. So again, are we going to get a big surprise in 2015, where we're going to have possibly a full year, or do we have a full year this year? The miscellaneous fees, again, there was no explanation. I believe that Mr. Donnelly said that a lot of that was transfer taxes, so I'll let that go. I'm just hoping it was just not an increase in fees, for users, which is really a backward tax. Bottom line is the numbers do not speak for themselves, just for the right points that I brought up. We need a thorough budget message, including a plan to decrease costs and taxes further for 2015 and beyond. Since we are in July, we should be talking about the 2015 budget. Are you working on it? I think you're doing a good job, but the full story is not being told, and the unforced errors and key omissions of fact cause some doubt. Since if I do have a couple minutes, I would like you to turn to the sheet that I put in front of you on the sick bay.
Bill?
I'm out of time?
You're out of time.
I rest my case.
Thank you, sir.
If I may, Director.
Yes, please do.
Mr. Love and I have known each other a long time. We've gotten to be pretty good friends over the years. But I do want to answer a couple of things, Bill, that we didn't have the opportunity to talk about ahead of time. Capital debt for 2014 for the county will be $25 million
That's new debt,
of new debt.
so that'll exceed what we're paying down?
Now, we're paying down 28.3, so there's a 3.3 pickup. There's no disclosure of projects for the $23 million to be spent on open space. Mary Pat, by tomorrow, could you have me a list of all the park projects? And Bill, I'll get that over to you, the specifics on the park projects of what
I
we...
think more important to me, it should be for everybody.
Well, you know what's funny? In March, folks don't come to every meeting, quite frankly, but we did it, and we got good press coverage on it, though, too. The staff does a detailed open space presentation, because we strike that rate separately from the county budget by statute, because it's a dedicated fund. It's, as you know, it's not part of the county budget. So when we strike that rate, we explain to the taxpayers exactly what the projects are for that year. Some of them are planned, meaning they're on the drawing board. They may not be completed in 14, but they're planned, and we allocate funding for them. But that also includes the farmland stuff, the preservation stuff. I think we have, Mary Pat, again, 7 farms we're making offers on tonight. Basically, the board's going to authorize, correct?
Correct.
So, but we'll get you that list. We'll shoot it over to you by email.
Can you tell me why there's a $250,000 difference between the actual budget that's posted and the presentation?
No. Mr.
Yes.
Krasson will be able to explain that. But let me get through my
The
piece.
actual budget's less, so that's good news.
Yeah, it is good news. Okay, will the tax rate reduced by 1.5 cents last year for 2014 be restored to the former 4 cents? I don't know. And let's think about this going forward. We picked up $1.8 million in clerk revenue, largely in clerk revenue. It really wasn't surrogate or sheriff's revenue over the last year. The clerk revenue is a benefit of a good economy. As that rateable number turns around, and you and I have had this discussion before about ratables, and I know how you feel. But the reality of it is, we budget based on ratables. We collect revenue based on ratables. As that number continues to improve, our financial situation continues to improve. When we cut the levy on open space in 2012, we had $50 million in the trust, in the reserve. At the end of last year, we had budgeted to spend how much, MP? 14 or 16? 16 million. We were only able to spend 9 million. So at the end of last year, we have 41 million in the reserve. We estimate at the end of this year, after all the projects that MP staff has ongoing, to be at 21 million. This board was really, really clear. At some point in time, that levy is going to need to go up, because the taxpayers have made a decision that they support funding open space preservation in the county, but also our parks program. But I don't think, in good conscience, I could recommend or vote to the board that when we're having difficulty spending $10 million a year and we're sitting on $41 million a year, that we look at raising that right now. I think this is a break that the taxpayers are getting, and it's a break because it's their money. They should be getting it. But make no mistake about it, at some point in time, this board will have to take a look at that rate.
So it appears it might be a 2016 event.
It could be, it's becoming, you know what it is? And you'll get a kick out of this. We could hire a hell of a lot more staff over at Parks. And the only reason we would hire them is we could get all these projects done. We've got projects stacked up for the next 10 years that we could do, but it's a matter of having the human capital to pull all these projects together and get them done. We don't want to bring on staff to do it, so we do develop the 5-year and a 10-year plan to get these done. At some point in time, it's going to go up, whether it's a 14, well, it's not a 14, but whether it's a 16, 17, or 18 problem, I don't know. I'm going to let Mr. Krasson handle that one. Mr. Krasson can handle the health care. He can handle the insurance. I talked about the clerk. Oh, and the budget message. We danced on this last year. Last year, I think you said we were a little bit self-serving in the budget message that we had put out there to the taxpayers, because quite frankly, at the end of the day, it is the public statement that the press gets. It is almost a media statement of what the county has done and what the county's budget has. So it's a catch-22. Do we put the budget statement out there or do we not do it? Statutorily, we're not obligated to do it. I actually prefer the concept of the presentation, but obviously that's not going to reach all the taxpayers in the county. But I think that's God, Ralph Strum's out of here right now, but he's going nuts because it's his budget statement over the years. I think this is much more comprehensive to do it this way. While I agree with you, it doesn't take us a great deal of time to craft the 6 or 7 paragraphs that involve the budget statement. I don't think it gives us the full numbers. And lastly, Bill, these numbers don't talk to me either. You do have to peel a lot of the onion back to get to them. Mr. Krasson, will you pick up and answer the remaining questions specifically? Well, that's a few.
No.
Okay. The 31% fewer employees. Oh, you don't have the questions. I'll read them to you. With 31% fewer employees in 2008, how can the unfunded sick pay liability be the same $6 million as in 2014 as in 2008?
When you term the unfunded sick, it's not just unfunded sick, it's the unfunded liability for vacation as well as sick. And the number is a function of the tenure of our employees, meaning the longer someone is an employee here, the more vacation that they ultimately get. And the county has adopted a couple policies. One is, actually both I think are consistent with the state at this point. One is that sick pay is maxed at $15,000. No matter how much you have, that's the maximum payout. Secondly, the most that an employee can carry over in terms of vacation is the amount that they were awarded in the year prior. So as we've leaned down the staff, quite frankly, a lot of our staff have not been able to take vacation and they've had to carry it forward. Our number is a function of, do we have a lot of long-time employees or do we have a lot of people that were just hired? The number actually went from a high of $7.7 million in 2012 to its current number of about $6.3 million. And that number reflects if everyone in the entire county were to leave the employment of the county today. We generally don't have that happen. When we do have an employee leave, it gets charged to their actual line item budget. And that's been what the historical practice has been of the county.
The salary line. So that's actually how we account for the accrued liability. We paid out of the operating fund for that year.
So it's a permanent deferral as long as...
It's going to be, yeah, it's like deferred school taxes. It's going to be carried forever because we're never going to be completely out of it unless we collectively bargain our way out of it, which that number's gotten better, the $15,000 an enhancement from where it's been. But the thing we run into is, they do, this says, your question was, do employees get a full payout at termination? Within the first year, we'll pay that out.
It's capped at 15,000.
It's capped at 15, yeah.
By the way, don't use deferred school taxes. That almost bankrupted Medford.
It's almost a lot of towns. That's why I'm trying to, well, you're right, I shouldn't draw that analogy. Mark, what is the plan to reduce healthcare costs, which is up 2.2 million or 11%?
Yeah. Our healthcare costs actually have come down from its level in 2012. That was a result of some of the employees, obviously, from Blackburn, who closed that facility. But the challenge that we had in 2013, and to address Mr. Love's question of, you passed the budget 6 months into the year, why wasn't the number adjusted then? The county is self-insured with regard to its healthcare program, and unfortunately for the county, we had many high-dollar claims that occurred in the latter part of the year. We actually had a couple of catastrophic claims that occurred also, which resulted in a much higher number than we had hoped for and anticipated when we adopted the budget last year.
And again, the 6.8% you referenced, that's something that's collectively, well, it's not actually, that's a state mandate right now, but we're always trying to collectively bargain to enhance the county's position and to lower our costs.
State mandate is they only pay 6.8% of premium?
Well, believe it or not, it's tied to salaries. Yeah, that's something the legislature passed how many years ago? It just got through the sunset. 4 or 5 years ago. Mandating based on your salary, your contribution to health.
It's limited to 6.8%.
It's not, believe it or not. It depended upon your, 6.8% is the county average, but it can run anywhere from 2% up to 40 or 50%, but dependent upon level of compensation. We agreed, we talked about this, 61 cents is the fringe rate, 61% is our fringe rate. Again, that's something we collectively bargain, we try to enhance each year, but it's becoming more and more difficult with, actually, quite frankly, it's pension obligations, it's becoming more and more difficult to bring down. Mark, your last one. Since the budget was approved in July last year, how could insurance budget be off in 2013 by over $2 million in only 6 months?
I think that's what we.
I think you pretty much
just addressed, and just to clarify, the runoff is with our. It's not with our health insurance claims.
It's a GL, yeah.
Yeah, and with legacy claims, it's a function on when they're actually settled and how much they're settled for. So.
Thank you. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. We'll get you the farms and the projects, though, Bill.
I think you could just list them, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the response, by the way.
Thank you.
The only two other little things is that our presentation's is on the website, or it's on the website now, so that's one of the outreaches, budget message, but it is on the website for people to grab a hold of.
Well, I did, that's where I caught the fact that there was a $250,000 difference in the open space tax to the real budget.
And the other part was, you were saying about starting next year's budget. Well, we pretty much, we're rolling, it's a 12-month budget right now. They're in the process of doing that work right now to start planning on next year's budget, even before this one is finalized. That's sort of the reason I think we've been able to knock the numbers down like we've had and aggressively go at it, because it's not just a 3-month process, it's a 12-month process now.
Mr. Field Director, I just want to clarify again, the difference between the number in my presentation and the one in the budget is that on March 26th, the Freeholder Board held a public hearing for open space, where all the projects were presented, and during that hearing, at the time, the tax information that we had appeared as though it would result in a $6.5 million tax levy, and that's what the board voted when they did a vote to approve the tax levy. So we're required to put that number in our budget for the open space portion. We've had additional information since then, so in our presentation, we went to be as accurate as possible.
So you have to amend what you approved?
No.
Mr. Paris.
Good evening. Ken Paris, Mayor of Delran Township. I don't have a report to prepare like the gentleman just did, but I'm here to basically thank everybody. Me as the mayor of Delran Township, I worked very hard to cut costs, reduce taxes, and you guys have done the same. And I really appreciate the effort that you guys have done. It's a thankless job. And I know you guys, everybody there takes a conscious effort to work hard and do it, and I really appreciate it. And I think the residents of Delran do, and the residents of the county. Also, I appreciate the road work that has been done this year. It's been very prompt. Bridgeboro and the Creek Road. So I appreciate the road work, and I also appreciate the work that you guys are doing in the park. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Saraceno.
Nick Saraceno, Palmyra, New Jersey. Palmyra's a bit of a hike. We're kind of on the fringe of Burlington, but it is nice that the county that we live in is working so hard to reduce our tax burden. Palmyra, we're trying to get there. It is a long and arduous process, but it's very nice that our county is doing that for us. Excuse me, I'm a little dehydrated. So just thank you, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. That's all the people we have signed up. Does anyone else would like to have an opportunity, name and address and?
Bob Smythe, One Bank Avenue, Riverton. I've got to say that I've done this a few times with many of you and complimented you. The presentation that you did was excellent. I don't recall you doing that the last few years, so I've got to hand that to you. Great job. And I made some notes in watching the presentation, which I'd just like to comment on. I'm a former council president in Riverton. I've done many budgets, and I've got to commend all of you, especially the leadership of Freeholder Gargano, for doing this again. I don't know how you keep these budgets low, and after looking at those numbers, the performance was excellent, all the performance stats. You've got the lowest cost per resident. When I see some of the, like Ocean County, now the northern counties, a lot of times you think they'd be more expensive. When I see Ocean County, which is right next door, Camden County, which is right over there, and we have the lowest cost per resident. Excellent job on that. The efficiency, I know a lot about all the services you provide, and I've got to say too that you're commended for keeping the same level of services, and I can even see where the level of services have increased and are even better. So you're really doing an excellent job there with all the cost cutting too. The other point that I liked is, thank you for all the residents too, because it's a tough economy now. And we all like to see lower taxes at both the municipal level and of course at your level. And you're doing it, and some municipalities are and some aren't. The other point that I think is really great, and Freeholder Director brought this up, is the economic development aspect. I'm involved on the River Route Advisory Committee, which is a economic advisory committee for all of you. And when you can show lower taxes for residents and people are moving in with businesses, that's great. So you're becoming a very business-friendly county. So again, I'd just like to commend all of you. Thank you very much for the excellent job.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Dana Granatoro, 2624 Liberty Road, Stevenson. I just wanted to applaud the Board of Freeholders for acting responsibly with the taxpayers' money and prioritizing tax relief at a time when so many residents in Burlington County are struggling in a down economy. I was raised in Stevenson, and I now live there with my husband and 3 children. And I can honestly say that each year is harder and harder for many of us to afford living in this great area. But I would like to thank Director Gargano and the board for doing what they can to help make Burlington County a more affordable place to call home. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will, I'm sorry.
Good evening, I'm Lucinda Lane from Medford. I just wanted to congratulate and commend the board on another job very well done. And my fellow residents in Medford also share the same sentiments. You know, it's with everything going on in our country now, to look at you as a board, you're a model of good governance. You're working hard, you're keeping the line of taxes, and you're holding the line of spending too, and you're increasing it. So the residents really do notice. I was in the overflow room, since so many people are here to thank you for all your hard work, so keep up the good work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Bruce, I just wanted to comment. This year I was given the opportunity to participate actively in the budget proposal preparations, and I want to thank Mark Krasson for giving me that opportunity, also for Freeholder Order. But I especially want to thank the department heads that I'm liaison with, and some of the things that we worked with, as an example, these may sound like some of them smaller than larger, but they all added up. I want to thank Eve and the Department of Health. She worked very hard to not only make savings, but also to increase revenues. As a result of her changing the inspection format, we expect to generate another $37,000 in fees for inspections. So thank you, Eve, for that. And I was, again, a part of that, and that was great. We also expect that we will be seeing, I had made recommendations for fleet reductions in the departments that I'm responsible for. The reductions of some of those vehicles will enable us also to reduce our insurance costs and the upkeep on some of those vehicles. In our jails, again, thank you to Warden Arter and his staff. We have been able to reduce, as was noted, the overtime greatly, which was just going to be a tremendous saving. In addition to which, Warden Arter and his staff came up with the wonderful idea of increasing, so I hope I get this right, correct me if I don't, increasing the inmate processing fees. When we process an inmate, we charge the inmates directly. We had been charging them $50 an inmate. We're now charging them $100 an inmate. Revenues in the past were $148,000. This year we expect to get $250,000 in revenues. So again, thank you for that. We're also looking to reduce the vehicles, our fleets in the prison system by 2 more vehicles. And we also expect to see more savings by bundling their medical services through our new contract with our new company, CSG. I'm also in the juvenile detention. We expect to see, basically what we're doing in all of our prisons is we're going to straight time, but we're adding positions, but the additional positions are going to not only create jobs, but they'll reduce overtime. So in the end, we're going to see greater savings. And again, finally, I'm also recommending that when our pharmacy contract for the jails comes up in 2015, we look to put that out to bid to get a better rate on our formulary. So thank you again for the department heads. Thank you for the freeholders and for Mark for allowing me to be part of this process to come up with not only increased savings, but also some extra revenue. Thank you.
At this point, I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Howard, second.
Second.
By Freeholder Bellegarde, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We'll move on to the adoption of the 2014 county budget. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Howard, second.
Second.
By Freeholder Donnelly. Questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Freeholder Bellegarde.
Yes.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Yes.
Freeholder Howard.
Yes.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Yes.
And Director Gargano.
Yes. We'll move on to public comments on the remaining agenda items. If you name, address, anything on the agenda at this point? Seeing none. Move on to resolutions. What I will do is we're going to take a 2-minute recess. If anybody wants to escape, you're allowed. So I'm not sure if you want to stay.
Unless you're staff, then you're staff.
If you want to stay, I always mess up on that. But if anybody wants to stay, feel free to. But I figured if anybody was just here for the budget at this point.
Clock's ticking.
Tick-tock, right?
Thank you.
Hope we don't get more criminals, increase our revenue.
Well, I'll see you, Bill.
Good job, everybody. Thanks.
Joseph, thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Good, buddy.
I'll see you, Joe.
See you, Joey.
So we had no public comment on the items, so we can just roll, right?
I'm parched.
All right, if you haven't left, you're here. So.
We're locking the doors,
Yep.
you're stuck.
I'll make a motion that we approve by unanimous consent items 1 through 8.
Second.
Motion by Gargano, second by Howard. Any questions or comments on any of the items?
Yes. So I have, I would like to discuss items 1, 6, 7, and 8.
Okay. Please go ahead with number 1.
Great, thank you. So I have a question on some of the bills. Not too many tonight, though. Tell me when you're ready, Mr. Choi.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, great. On page 11, there's an entry there for the Burlington County Highway Department of $10,917.39. Can you explain to me what that is about?
Freeholders, this is the gas usage for the Meals on Wheels program. The grant,
Oh,
the
okay.
Office of Aging reimburses us for that.
Okay, and so, oh, I see, okay.
They get county gas, and
Yeah.
we charge it to the aging department.
Okay, great. Page 15, Camden County College, I have to recuse myself from that one. Page 16 and 17, Capehart and Scatcherd, do you by any chance have those for me? Or- Excellent, great. And then the only other question I have is page 61. There was just one entry there for Panoni of professional services for $1,438. Not a big entry, but didn't seem to be further explanation there.
This freeholder was worked on the radio room over at the Public Safety Building.
Okay. Those are all the questions that I have on number 1.
Okay. You wanna move on to 6, 7, and 8?
So, I just wanted to obtain further explanation on these 3 since these were not conferenced. I don't know if these are, I guess these are sort of all, yeah, okay, great.
On number 6, this is the annual maintenance for our performance software, which is a pilot program that we're working with Human Resources to do employee evaluation. Number 7 is our annual maintenance for the firehouse software, with all the fire departments throughout the county. We host the server here centrally, and then we bill out back to accounts. They'll reimburse us for the balance of that.
Okay.
And the final one, the Avaya PBX and voicemail maintenance, is our annual maintenance and contract for our voice over IP phone system. That's kind of wide.
Okay, and so for number 8, it looks like that was through an RFP process?
That's correct.
And then how about 6 and 7?
That's just annual maintenance, so that doesn't go through a bidding process since it's a sole proprietor or sole vendor.
They wrote the software.
Yeah, it's their.
Oh, I see,
We
okay.
already purchased the software, so it's just
Okay,
maintenance.
makes sense, great. Those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Okay. Any other? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder Bellegarde?
Just my abstentions as noted on the bill list. I should just note that. Yes, so I would like to move for unanimous consent items number 9 and 10.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Bellegarde, second by Freeholder Howarth. Questions?
I would just like to note, if I may, that these items, number 9 is related to moving of the voting machines for our election process. And obviously, we have a lot of election machines to move throughout the county to each of our municipalities, so that's what that's related to. And number 10 is related to maintenance and preparation of our voting machines here in the county.
Any other? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder Donnelly?
Thank you, Director. At this time, I move for unanimous consent of resolution items numbered 11 through 18.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Donnelly, second by Freeholder Howarth. Questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder Howarth?
Thank you, Director. At this time, I'd like to move unanimous consent resolutions 19 through 27.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Howarth, second by Freeholder Donnelly. Questions?
Yes. So, full of questions tonight. On item number 21.
Oh, that was pulled. I'm sorry.
No.
Was it?
No.
So,
21
I'm
still
working
in.
an old
I
agenda.
might be looking at a different one.
Space allocation.
24 was pulled.
I'm sorry.
This is the agreement with, agreement for $98,900 for the Burlington County space allocation. That's the one
Gotcha.
I'm looking at, okay.
Yeah. It was conference, Joe?
So, oh, I'm sorry. So I just wanted to, I know that we talked about this in conference. I don't know if you want to explain it a little bit, but I will tell you what my concerns is, and I did talk about this in our last conference meeting. So this $98,900 is a pretty big chunk of change, I feel, and I know that we have an approved list of vendors, but in conferencing this, I felt that this is not a project that we are used to doing on a regular basis. This is not something that we've done regularly here. And for a project of this magnitude, I really feel that it, I have concerns, and I think this is something I've talked about before, where I feel that we need real steps moving forward to establish sort of a bid threshold, especially when we're getting into projects in the $100,000 range, obviously. So I just wanted to note that obviously this is something that we need to do moving forward, but I would, moving forward, like to, as a board, consider having sort of a threshold amount perhaps of when we do go out to bid on projects, because this is a large amount of money, and I want to make sure that we are being the best stewards of our taxpayer dollars.
And I just wanted to comment on 19, because 19 looks like it's a pretty hefty sum, pretty close to the $98,000, but it was explained to us in conference that the $81,000 probably won't be hit, and that it'll be spread over 3 years, so it'll be about, what, $20,000 you said a year, plus this company has already been working on this staff and has past experience. So that is why, to me, there's a large difference between the 81 on number 19 and the 98 in number 21, which is a big lump sum all at once.
Any other? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder Schwartz?
This time I'd like to, move for unanimous consent. Item number 29. Well, is it still 29? Now I guess
28.
it's 28 now that we...
It's got me messed up. All right,
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Schwartz, second by Freeholder Bellegarde. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We'll move on to item I, which is nomination and election to the Burlington County Board of Trustees. Do I have any nominations?
Mr. Director, this time I'd like to nominate two people for a 4-year term, Kate Gibbs and Kevin Brown.
Any other?
I'd like to nominate Dave Crawford.
Any other?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do we have resumes for Kate Gibbs and Kevin Brown?
Yes.
We didn't get them.
Yeah, I
in
know
our
that
packets.
this is something that Joanne and I have asked about before, which is receipt of information relating to nominations before the fact. Would it be possible, or actually I'd like to make a motion then to table this to the next meeting so that we can review those.
We have a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Just a question now, point of order. Are we going to get a resume for Dave Crawford this evening?
We will, the college has it. He's been interviewed by them.
Well, wait a
So
minute.
you'd have,
Well,
well, the college has the other one, so we'll get it
College
from
has
them.
the other ones.
I'm sure we can get it by the next meeting.
No, we've already made the motion. It's already, that's been
already tabled.
ratified already.
Well,
Yeah.
But
since...
I think it's difficult to cry foul if you're going to nominate someone else and we don't have that.
Oh, no,
ready.
no, I
well,
absolutely
he
think
asked
we
for
should have.
nominations.
I absolutely think we should have the CVs, resumes, whatever you want to call them, of all of the nominees. Absolutely.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
But, okay.
You will have them.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you.
Questions from the press?
I have a question about number 21. Can you just expand upon what that type of study is and what prompted it?
Sure, go ahead, Joe, please.
The county has several tenants in the complex here that are different than county employees. We have other state employees, and we have requirements for providing them space. And we have a responsibility to make sure we have enough space and provide them with the space they need, as well as providing the space that the county needs for its present and future moving forward. So we're having a consultant come in and evaluate the complex for what these buildings can do with regards to satisfying the present requirements as well as moving forward.
Okay. And is that something that's done regularly?
No.
Or is it?
It has not. I've been here for 4 years and we haven't done it.
Okay.
We've done smaller things, but nothing at the scale where we're talking about the whole complex.
Is the goal cost efficiency?
That's one of them, yes.
Well, and not building also.
Yeah.
Not building. You know what I mean? These are big properties. If we can allocate space better within our existing facilities, we don't have the need to build or lease space somewhere else off of this campus in West Hampton.
Okay.
You know, we found ourselves over the years always looking, well, can we add a chunk of space on here, add a chunk of space on here? Well, now, you know, we're starting to take a more holistic look at our buildings and say, you know what, maybe there is enough space here, and maybe there's a better way to allocate it, and a better way, quite frankly, for energy efficiency also, and usages in some of these properties.
No other press?
Oh, that's it.
That was it?
That's it.
All right. Comments from freeholders, Freeholder Bellegarde?
Public comments.
Well, public, I mean, I am flying through tonight, aren't I?
Yeah.
We had a lot of public comment today.
Mm.
It's a reason to skip over.
Public comment, anything you'd like to discuss with us? This is your opportunity. Sir?
Alex Roach, Chesterfield. I just wanted to thank the engineer, Joe, and your staff for the quality that you did on our roundabout. That's the big thing in Chesterfield that a lot of people are upset about. You guys stayed on top of it. It was an excellent job, and I just wanted to recognize you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I'll pass along to the folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Mike Schmidt, I'm from Evesham Township. I'd like to say to the board, I appreciate the effort to keep our taxes stable and so forth. The question is really for our CFO. The question is the surplus that was used in this budget is $2.3 million. What is the target? You mentioned $14 million surplus. What is the target for your operating budget? What is the standard you're using? In Evesham, we use 5%. Whether that's, I'm not a CFO, whether that's right or not, I don't know. But where did that number come from? It's 2.3 million. If 5% is the number as a preferred model, why isn't $5 million returned back to the taxpayers?
Can you repeat that last part?
Well, if 14 million is the surplus. Correct. What I saw on the presentation was 2.3 million being used in the budget.
Correct.
And that 2.3 million through your analysis is generating a $500,000 tax levy decrease. Why is that number 2.3 million? Why isn't it higher? What is behind that number?
That's a policy decision. The CFO doesn't make that decision.
All right, well, what is the
The
policy?
board makes that decision.
What's the
But,
policy?
well, I want to clarify what you're saying, or what you're asking. You're thinking that surplus number should be higher, right?
No, my question is, what is behind the 2.3 million?
The 2.3 million is what we use to buy down taxes a little bit more.
Why would the number be higher?
The number's not higher. Actually, we're trying to increase surplus so as to keep the ratings agencies on our side. Because that shows a healthier bottom line for the county when we're in a better position to meet our payroll and all of our obligations. And having a healthy surplus is something that has become critical to the agencies.
Freeholder Lozano, what is the target percentage of the operating budget that you're looking for?
I don't, what is that, the target percentage of the operating budget for what?
We collect tax levy. We have a surplus.
Right.
I'm asking a question. I saw 2.3 million used for this budget. My question is, going to be higher to provide more tax relief?
We could have, I mean, quite frankly, we could.
What the bond agency is looking for.
No, we're getting, I think we needed to be, where did we figure it out with the bond ratings agencies? We wanted to be north of $12 million to keep them satisfied, correct?
Yeah, what we like to do is we would like to see continued growth of our fund balance, of the surplus. And the amount that we utilized is an amount that we felt that we could replenish at the end of the year, as well as sustain continued growth of our surplus. So if it were more, we wouldn't necessarily see the continued growth we'd like to see. And to answer your question in terms of what is the number, that's a number, that's a question that's been asked the rating agency many, many times. We're trying to be consistent with other neighboring counties in terms of fund balance. And all of our counties are really trying to grow that fund balance. But when you try to ask to see what is the number, you unfortunately don't get an answer from the agencies.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
West Hampton. We saw in the presentation how municipal taxes are going up, and indeed in West Hampton, for the past several years, our local tax rate has been going up close to 4% on average annually. And so that adds insult to injury for the many folks that haven't recovered from the financial meltdown. I would like to applaud you for the continued determination and hard work, doing more with less, and providing us with another tax break. And we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from freeholders. Freeholder Bogart?
Great, thank you very much. Thanks to everybody who came out and joined us and participated in tonight's meeting, especially given the budget portion of the meeting. Just a few comments with regard to the budget and the budget process this year. Back in January, then Freeholder Director Arter had issued a challenge at the beginning of the year that each of the freeholders work with the departments that we happen to be liaison to. And I have to say this year, I'm very grateful to have had that opportunity to actually be more involved in the budget process in that regard. And then to work together as a board to find savings without compromising the services to the county and the services that we provide to our residents this year. So thank you first to then Freeholder Director Arter, and then to the rest of the board for allowing me to be more of an active participant in the budget process this year. I also want to extend my thanks to all of the employees and the department heads who really make this budget happen. If it weren't for their hard work and especially with the attrition over the past couple of years of working together and having to pick up an extra task here or there, and really working within their means, it's really what keeps us going as a county. So thank you to all of our employees who really make this work. I really absolutely appreciate it. And beyond that, all I have to say is I look forward to the farm fair next week. I'm sure it's going to be the hottest week of the summer, as it always is.
One good thunderstorm.
Yeah, exactly. At least one good thunderstorm, right? But I hope to see lots of people out at it, because it really is a great way for us to get out into the community, but also to really see some of what our great agricultural community does here in Burlington County. So if you haven't been before, or if you have, please come out and join us. It really is a great event. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Freeholder Schwartz?
Yes, our State Pinelands Commission is composed of 7 people who are appointed by the governor. There are 7 other appointees that are appointed by the county freeholders. In Burlington County, there's a gentleman named Sean Earlin, W. Earlin, E-A-R-L-E-N. His term expires July 27th, 2014. Therefore, I will be nominating an individual to replace Mr. Earlin at the next freeholder meeting. I believe that this individual is eminently qualified to serve on this commission and is the best choice to fairly and impartially represent the divergent needs and interests of all of our constituents. He has expressed an interest in assuming this role and is very enthusiastic about it. So the individual that I will be nominating is Garfield DeMarco. Mr. DeMarco, as a lot of you know, comes to us with all kinds of experience. Some of the things he's done is he's been director of Guarantee Bank of the Bank of First New Jersey. He's been chairman of the Burlington County Republican Party for many, many years. He also served as a delegate to the 2 national Republican conventions. He is a lawyer who graduated from Dartmouth, cum laude, with a law degree from Yale. He was a Fulbright scholar. He is a longtime cranberry grower, having had the 2nd largest cranberry property in the world. He was a former director of Ocean Spray and also was on the National Cranberry Marketing Commission. He was president of the American Cranberry Growers Association, and he was also a member of the New Jersey Water Policy and Supply Commission. And again, I will be, and it goes on, but I will be nominating him to fill this position at the next meeting.
Thank you, Freeholder. Go to Donna.
Director, congratulations on the budget, on the adoption of the budget. Congratulations to the financial staff on putting up with us. And today, my rantings on the budget. Everybody did a great job. It is, as Freeholder Bellegarde said, it is in fact the staff that quite frankly, crafts the budget to a large degree, but also has to carry out the budget stipulations that this board makes. And some of them are easy, some of them are not easy. And as the economy had continued to sour from 2008 forward, it became increasingly difficult to accomplish some of our collective goals. But we are starting to see signs of life in terms of the economy as represented through the clerk's revenue. So hopefully we and our constituent municipalities continue to move forward and our financial situation improves. Just one further comment. Freeholder Schwartz, I know Mr. DeMarco very well, but I'm sure you're going to defer your nomination until the first meeting in August, as we have an agreement among this board that we wait 30 days before we put any nomination out there.
No
And
problem.
I'm also assuming that we'll have a resume.
We'll get a resume. I'm sure he'll provide one.
Okay, before the next meeting, of course, because there's no way we could consider something unless we had the resume.
Well, that's exactly my position on these other names that came up that I didn't get resumes on.
Exactly.
So we're all in agreement.
Thank you, Director.
No problem. Freeholder Howard.
I want to thank everybody for the budget as well. Bruce, congratulations, good job. Joe, Amy, Joanne. It's a good budget. It's one we all can hang our hat on. It's not getting any easier, to come up with these budgets every year. My hat's off to Mr. Krasson. He did a great job, department heads, and going to continue to do the same thing next year. And we start right now. Thanks.
I'll be real quick. Everyone's been thanked. But the staff has done a great job. That's what it all comes down to. This county's only as good as our staff and our people are. This budget basically is about jobs. It's about ratables. It's about making our towns more competitive. It's about attracting businesses back into Burlington County. That's basically what it is, because ultimately when a business comes or anybody even wants to live here, the one thing they look at is what it's going to cost me to stay. And if we can lower that cost, we're going to attract those people, businesses, and jobs back into our county. So, it's our little piece of the puzzle. All the communities have to do the same thing, and there's a lot of arguing and fighting and tough things and tough decisions you have to make. But ultimately, when we go through these budgets, that is what we're trying to do, is just make Burlington County the most cost-competitive county in the state of New Jersey, and to bring businesses and ratables here. With that,
I have a question. You had mentioned that there's a rule that we get resumes 30 days ahead. I wasn't aware of that. If that being the case, will we
No, it's
also
not
be
what it says.
tabling the two individuals and the individual I nominated for the college till August 1st? Because we haven't gotten the resumes.
Guys. You guys can have this conversation afterwards. I thought there was an agreement before I got here that there was a 30-day window for nominating people. We should turn around and do the 30-day window for people to get that nomination. I think that would be more than fair.
Okay.
And that's an agreement I think everyone else had
Crafted
before I
last
got
year.
here.
I think you remember that. I think all the rest of us remember that.
We're gonna stay within that
Good, 'cause
process.
I found this when I walked in tonight, so.
You got it. I guess my statement wasn't so exciting. She went right back after it. At this point, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Howard. Second by Freeholder Bellegarde. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes got it. Thanks for coming.